everything's been very in reverse in Conor McGregor land for MMA recently. So Conor's been sitting out not doing MMA, which is the opposite of a guy who was staying busy. Okay, so we'll add that in there. But everybody was calling Conor out. For the longest time, everybody's calling him out. And now all of a sudden, nobody calls him out, and Conor's calling everybody else out. They're fake call-outs. They're fights that he doesn't want to do. It's the point that it's annoying. But every time there's a show, Conor calls somebody out. I mean, just in recent memory, he called out Nate Diaz one night, and then before that, it was Masvidal. Something erupted there through TMZ and went over to Nate Diaz, jumped to Frankie Edgar, and now it's on Khabib, and let's do it in Russia. I mean, it's silly. It's silly. Perhaps it's meant to be playful. But the bottom line is you're talking about talking. You're meeting about meeting. Nothing's happening. You're doing nothing. But what's interesting about it, nobody's been calling Conor out. Nobody. And all of a sudden, Dustin Poirier just called him out. Now, here's the thing on this. First off, does that fight even make sense? I think in a normal world, it probably checks some boxes. And I also think that it's very fun to do a rematch like that, particularly when Dustin, who's clearly gotten better, I think that that's always fun for us fans, right? It's a bit of a measuring stick. How much better has he gotten? How much of that gap has he closed? Has he passed him up? It's a good way to tell, and you can have some real fun there. I feel as though all of that's completely irrelevant, though. It looks as though you're going to have to do something special to get Conor back. Conor is sitting on 2 huge fights right now. Most guys are sitting on none. A really fortunate guy is sitting on 1. Conor's sitting on 2. Nate Diaz, trilogy. Khabib Nurmagomedov, world title fight. He's sitting on those. He could play either card anytime he wants. To think that he's going to go in a different direction seems, to me, wrong, odd, and off. The reason I bring that up is as much sense as it may make to a fight fan to get those guys together. You can play that game all day. Well, this makes sense. That's a very lazy answer, by the way. If you ever find yourself, oh yeah, that makes sense. You generally don't know what the hell you're talking about. If you did, you would have offered it. Because you don't, you turn to something that sounded good. This makes sense. Why? Why does that make sense? Does that make dollars? What is it Conor would have to gain from that? I don't need anything for myself, personally. I just wanted to compete. There are some guys like that, and maybe Conor has that. It appears he doesn't. It appears he did. It appears now that he doesn't. Evident being, he's not. So it appears that he needs something very special to get him back. And some guys are like that. St. Pierre is like that. He's all but retired, but he would listen if there was something big. I mean, you guys understand that. Daniel Cormier, in many regards, is saying the same thing now. I don't know if that I want to be done, but I would only come back if it were Stipe. I mean, you understand that. So, why the hell would he want to fight Poirier? You think he wants to find out how much better Dustin's gotten? He wants to find out if Dustin could close the gap or even pass him up? Close the gap? Come on. So, I guess my bigger fear, and what everybody's fear should be, one thing that you need in this business, one thing that you want, is to appear powerful. When you do a call out and you do not get it, you look weak. Conor McGregor has sold power since he's got here. He has sold people on the idea that he is a decision maker, of which he is not. He is marked out for his own gimmick so much that he woke up one day and realized I've got absolutely no power, which is why I'm sitting on my hands over here, and started demanding shares of the company, of which he will not get. But he has sold and convinced people that he has power. I have seen how people treat him behind the scenes. They act like they're walking by an executive instead of a kid from Ireland that's got tattoos on his neck. It's the strangest thing. I have seen announcers go on TV and say things like, Conor's holding all the cards. I have heard that from respectable people. They fell for the gimmick. Conor did a great job. Conor sold a false narrative and idea that he had power. But when Conor called shots, he got them. So he looked powerful. You put yourself in a very bad spot when you come out begging. when you come out calling out Conor McGregor, unless you get the Conor fight, you look silly, which you are. I haven't seen very many people call out Conor McGregor that had any chance of getting a seat at that table. The two people who could get to that table right now, Khabib and Nate Diaz, both do the opposite and say, I don't want anything to do with him. Keep him away from me, bring on somebody else. I get that that's gamesmanship, but it's something different. If everybody say keep him away from me, then be the guy that says bring him to me. But you don't want to just beat the same drum. And to watch these guys get excited because Conor sent out a tweet or said their name somewhere as a way to try to build a fight just isn't the way to do it. And once you look weak in this business, it's very tough to ever regain that. You got to be careful with what names you're throwing around. If you were just a world champion 5 days ago and you were just a main event 5 days ago and you just made your biggest paycheck ever 5 days ago, you should not be calling somebody out and then getting a door slammed in your face. So you got to be careful. I thought it was good news that Poirier is already looking for another opponent, though. How many times have we seen somebody in Dustin's spot and they go bury their head in the sand, get depressed, and go away? I don't know if I'll ever come back, just as a way of getting people to go, no, we really want you to come back. You have so much left. Oh, I don't know if I do. Right? Take that little childish approach. Poirier, he's looking for an opponent. That's pretty cool. I hope he finds. I'd love to see him fight Conor. I would just be very careful with those call-outs. I would have made a lot of calls behind the scenes. I'd have done a lot of feeling out first before I walked up to the girl and asked her to go to prom with me. I want to make sure that I'm getting a yes.